While growing up, we all wondered, what if we had some sort of superpower? In Indian households, we all watched that Shaktiman. We all wanted some sort of power like that. What if I was a Wonder Woman? That's what I thought when I watched Wonder Woman. But reality is, we can't have that. But certainly, there is one power we all can have. And most interesting part about it is the more we practice it, the better we become. I don't want to sound too buzzy or too magical, but yes, your ability to align your goal with others and connect with powerful communication is the ultimate superpower in this modern time. The one who knows how to connect with others with their super communication skills is the one who is relishing on all the goodness of the world. And if you too want to have that superpower handy and right away, why don't you stay tuned with me for another 10 minutes and I'm going to share with you 10 superpower that I have mastered over the 10 years of training the world. Now, I don't want to sound dramatic, but the fact is, if you follow these rules religiously and practice them, it can truly change your entire game of communication. It will make you a fantastic, a charismatic speaker on the stage. Off the stage too. Now, why I'm betting upon this so much is because not just hours and days, but months and years that I've spent into watching the videos of the top speakers across the globe, and that didn't work. So many books that didn't work. But then I had to rely back on my 12 years of experience of training the people from across the globe, from all walks of life, actually, from students to entrepreneurs to leaders to speakers in Hindi in India. So I have trained people from actually all walks of life and training so many things. I believe I must have trained everything that I have known so far, and I trained myself on. However, these 10 rules are something that you practice. These are very subtle, very simple. So you may sometimes, during this video say, duh, I knew it. So it's fine. However, hang in there, because I did tell you before, I'm going to tell you again, it will truly change your game of communication once and for all. The very first golden rule that is going to smooth out your speaking, that's going to be replace your verbal pauses with a dead or a complete silence. What do I mean by verbal pauses? It is, when I thought of coming to this place, well, all these sounds are basically a verbal pauses. Why do we do that? We all know it because we don't want to stop. Second, we are a thought and our speaking, they are not aligned, of course. And a number of other reasons. It could be maybe the hesitation of speaking to people, maybe the lack of practice, maybe you didn't know what you're talking about. And top of all, this is how you have been speaking for a long period of time and it has become your habit. And now it's very, very difficult to get rid of habit unless you replace it with another habit. So what is another habit that's going to use here is a dead silence, a complete silence. This is how we're going to bring a complete silence in your speaking. Now, all of a sudden, you'll notice that there's so much of calm and composed behavior that you would notice not just in you as a speaker, but your audience actually feel it. So replace your verbal ing, and pauses with dead silence. As they say, without a context, a piece of information is just a dot, and I call it a blah. Because we are inundated with so much of information day in, day out by the people around us, in the office, by social media content creators, so much so that we sometimes really wonder that are we human or a dump site of the information? Now, fun part, reality is if I don't give you the context prior to giving you the information, it is actually useless because you would never, ever, ever stay hooked to the idea. So always tell in advance what is this in reference to, why I'm talking about it, and then go on talking about it. Then I can also go on listening to how the human species, evolved over a period of time. Unless you give me the context, I wouldn't really pay attention to. So super communication communicators actually know how to grab the attention of other people by giving a context, a reference, and then they go on talking. When you have aha moment in the conversation, all good. When you have ouch moment in the conversation, that's where it seems like you're getting hot under the collar and you happen to be unprofessional in the uses of the words. Which is why I'm going to tell you that do not curse the person, call out the behavior. Do not say you are an utter and nonsense or you're an idiot. Rather, you want to say, well, this is totally unacceptable. Now, I have never seen you behaving like that before. So, yeah, for God's sake, just amend it. That's way better. At least I'll stay professional. In the future, further relationship with that person, at least I'm not breaking it off. So, call out the behavior, don't curse the person. Now, what if I tell you in next 10 seconds, you can be truly more confident in your voice just by tuning it up? Yeah, when you speak like this and when you speak like this, something changes. When I speak like this, putting a chin a little up, my spine is straight and I'm able to breathe from my diaphragm. Hence, the quality of my voice is a lot better than this, actually. So, chin a little up and speak with confidence. Hence, the voice that you are going to speak with is going to be super, super confident. Now, if you want to sound professional all of a sudden, like immediately, right at this moment, all you need to do is to be mindful of the clauses in the phrase and the words that you speak, like which is your go-to. When you speak, I think, oh, there you go, I lost you. So if you want to sound a bit more professional, confident, and somebody who should be taken seriously, replace the I think. There's no I think. Either it is proven fact, or it is something that you believe in, or it is something that you heard. So use the correct phrase. So I would rather say, I believe this is how it is supposed to be done, rather than I think this is how it is supposed to be done. So mind the word. Be mindful of the choice of the words and phrases that you speak on a daily basis. In fact, there is this one sentence that I hear very often than not by most people, and I'm sure some of you might be using. In fact, I just wanted to tell you, I just wanted to know, just or you wanted to. So replace this whole wordiness. I wanted to know, I wanted to connect with you to know about this. Replace all these confusing words and the words which are numb in nature, words and phrases which do not have the confidence attached to it. Replace I think with I believe, replace just, don't replace just take it off the table, please. And find more words and phrases that you speak, just because you're habitual of, and you don't know what damage it is doing to your communication. Now, we all know someone or heard someone whose speaking style is so impeccable that we can go on listening to them day in, day out. Why? Why do they sound so melodious? Why do we feel like there is something about their speaking style? Well, it is not monotonous, if I may say so. They are not monotonous. That's the beauty in it. Now, how not to be monotonous? Develop a rhythm and a pattern in your speaking style. It's not that difficult. Find the good words that you really want to emphasize on and take more time in speaking those words. Hence, automatically you'll notice there's a pattern, there's a rhythm in your speaking. Now, I'm not saying that we have to speak like how people spoke in back then, the speakers actually used to speak 7 years ago. I'm not talking about having that pattern. I am talking about developing a pattern of your speaking which is very natural to you, and at the same time where you actually emphasize on the important words in the sentences. It shouldn't be flat. You see, even lifeline flat, we're not alive. So if we want our audience to live longer, we ought to have the pattern, the rhythm in our speaking. Practice that. If you think how to practice that, if nothing, just go on, pretend like an actor and take their dialogues and practice in front of mirror. I think that also suffices a lot of time. A vocal leader, a fantastic communicator or speaker, is not in a business to impress you, but to attract you. And how does that happen? By mirroring your talk. They're not there to show you how great their vocabulary list is. They're not there to tell you how great and interesting individual they are. They are rather gonna take the words from you, take the sentences from you, and repeat in front of you. Hence, you are attracted and you don't even know that. Mercy. So mirror the talk. If you are in conversation with someone and you think there are certain words and phrases and something that makes sense and something that's so interesting, try using those words and phrases in your communication, in your answer immediately, right then and there. In fact, this is very good practice for impromptu as well. You'll be able to think on your feet. I mean, literally on your feet. There is truly something magnetic about those communicators who wouldn't have sob story, who wouldn't have like victim card story. I mean, I'm talking about an individual who always put a good spin to the bad phase, who always has optimistic explanatory style in their speaking. Like, they wouldn't say that I grew up in such a small place, we had scarcity of things or so. They would say, it was amazing. Like, we didn't have light and we used to rejoice in the evening because there was no electricity. So we didn't have to study and we used to have truly, truly a blast when I was a kid. So putting a good spin to the bad phase of life is truly magnetic about some of the speakers. And mind you, all the world leaders, I'm talking about the one whom we look up to and we have looked up to in the past, are the people who always have this optimistic explanatory style in their speaking. They wouldn't say, oh my goodness, now world is going to be over. They always say, oh, there is a hope and we are the hope. So always put a good spin to the bad phase of your life. I'm not saying that they are not true. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about something that wrong has happened to you. But, for example, interestingly, I was watching, I don't know what, you see, a lot of times we don't know what we're watching. But there was this Bollywood actor who was talking about the fact that the first time when he bought a car, when he started working, so his car, the front door wouldn't open. So he would always, every time he would go to some award function or so, he would be really embarrassed, by giving his car to the valet, and then he'll jump from the passenger seat or so. And while he was talking about it, he was so, rejoicing with the fact that the time has passed. And then he would jump on his seat while talking about the funny part of it, like how he would really manage and make it, explain it to his friends or so. And I felt connected all of a sudden because he didn't create a sob story. Like, he wasn't saying, there was such a bad phase of my life. I bought a second-hand car. No, third-hand car. Like, come on, man. We all know that we'll understand when you talk about it, even if it is with a good spin to it. There are two kinds of people in the world. One who says, here I am. And another who say, there you are. And a good speaker, a communicator, an individual who can make great impression is the one who would say, there you are. Because they always know and understand it is about the people I'm talking to. It is always and always about the people that I'm talking to, addressing to. It is not about me. No matter who I am, it is always about the people that I'm talking to, whose time I'm taking. So if you really want to connect and engage them and make space in their head, always understand the fact that I have to speak in the language, the content, and everything that I'm sharing for the benefit of the listeners, the people who are listening to me, the people I'm in conversation with, rather than going on and ranting about yourself only. So be the person who says, there you are. Finally, my favorite. No matter what you have to say and how you are saying, unless there is a clarity in your speaking, nobody is going to pay attention. Second, they won't understand even if they pretend to. And third, your image over a period of time will be something that you might not enjoy listening about. So work on the quality of your clarity that you speak with. And for that very simple trick that I believe I used for so long in order to sound correct, because English was never my first language, neither my second language, was third language. So I wanted to make sense with my ideas. I wanted to make sure I connect with people. But at the same time, I also wanted not to hear all the time, sorry, what did you say? What was that? I didn't get you. I wanted the goddamn clarity. And this came handy. Now, I'm not saying when you go to a meeting room and you just say, okay, all right, where's the pen? And then you start speaking. But this practice with this pen size anything between your lips, when you speak like this, what happens is your mouth really gets a good stretch. Your mouth muscles gets a good stretch. Hence, you have to make more effort to articulate the words. And if you do this practice, let's say 5 minutes a day or a period of 1 month or so, I would say you would notice a great difference in the clarity of your voice. So if you are someone who has got all the great ideas, but you keep hearing, sorry, I didn't get you, or maybe you eat up the words, maybe you don't know, what goes wrong because of the, clarity, always go for this one practice for a month, and then you would see a great difference. Because after all, at the end of the day, what matters is the clarity of my not just thought but of my speaking too. And these were some of the great ideas that I believe I didn't just talk about, but I made each individual practice in my classroom. Hence the change. Now, if you liked what you watched and you enjoyed those ideas and techniques, I'm going to ask you this. If you want me to make a detailed video and thorough step-by-step process to work upon any of those ideas or technique, do write in the comment section below. I might make some good length video which can be really handy to you. Now, I'm going to ask you again, subscribe to this channel, because we're going to come up with so many great ideas which will be truly time worthy to you. And by then, I, Kushi Singh, signing off.